Hey guys, it's Apollo. That's me, your favorite Olympian, the god of music, poetry, prophecy, plague, archery, medicine, the sun. Well, you get the idea. And welcome to Storytime with Apollo. It's only fitting that since I'm the god of poetry, I should be the one to tell you about this epic tale of two cities.
What?
Oh wait, never mind, wrong book. I meant the Iliad. But you see, it really is a tale of two cities. Greece and Troy have been at war now for almost 10 years, and Achilles and Agamemnon are now fighting over, you guessed it, a girl.
Oh my god.
It all happened because Agamemnon was forced to give up his prize girl, Chryseis, in order to end the plague, which I, by the way, created. My bad. So he's like, I'll just take Achilles' girl, Briseis. This makes Achilles very mad, so he prays to Zeus and tells him to make the Trojans win the fight, and then rage quits the war. Meanwhile in Troy, Hector shares an emotional moment with his wife, saying goodbye before leaving for battle, and he tells her, "No one is going to send me to Hades before my time, and no man has ever escaped his fate, rich or poor, coward or hero, once born into this world." These words are important, by the way. Anyway, after Achilles has a few crying sessions on the beach and he complains to his mommy, Agamemnon finally comes to his senses and he sends a group of heroes to go talk with Achilles. Trying to get him to come back to the war, they offer him all sorts of treasure, money, and power. But Achilles is all like, no, and he stays shut up in his camp. Now the Greeks start losing pretty badly. Eventually, Achilles' bestie, Patroclus, comes up with an idea. He's all like, Achilles, I should totally wear your armor into battle, and my awesomeness will scare away the Trojans. And Achilles said, that's a fabulous idea. This is where things go wrong. Patroclus got killed by Hector, and Achilles went emo and tore out his hair with his hands. Meanwhile, Hector went and took Achilles' armor off of Patroclus' body and wore it. Achilles is so upset that he sets aside his anger and chooses to go back into the war. His mom gets Hephaestus to make him some brand new shiny armor, and he's like,
Oh yeah.
this is cool. So he rushes back into the battlefield with his new special shield, bloodthirsty for vengeance. Lots of symbolism here, by the way. Long story short, Achilles and Hector play tag around the city of Troy until Achilles finally kills him and then drags his dead corpse around the city. However, when Priam begs for his son's body back, Achilles has a change of heart and he returns it. He's like, my bad, sorry, but no, seriously, this is an important moment in his character arc. Our next epic is the Aeneid. Fast forward a few years and Troy is now burnt down to flames and Aeneas and his buddies are on a journey. You see, Aeneas is not like other heroes.
Oh my god.
He has a mission to found Rome, but Juno's like, not if I can help it. So anyway, Juno tells Aeolus, king of the winds, to stop them. Aeneas is just minding his own business until out of nowhere, a storm hits them. But they make it to shore safely and land in Carthage. Luckily, there's no monsters here, but they do find a beautiful queen, Dido. She brings Aeneas and his men into her palace where he tells everyone the story of how they escaped from Troy. So basically, this undercover Greek named Sinon tricks the Trojans into bringing in a wooden horse to their city. Little do they know that the Greeks are actually hiding inside the horse, so that night, whenever no one was watching, they popped out of the horse like and burned the city down. While this is happening, Aeneas receives his vocatio, or his calling. While he's sleeping, the dead Hector comes to him in a vision, and he's like,
This is not a dream.
and he tells Aeneas to escape Troy, take the gods with him, and found a new city. So Aeneas obeys, he takes his family with him, but sadly he has to leave his wife behind at the command of the gods. As Dido's hearing him tell the story, she completely falls in love with Aeneas. This is partly due to the fact that Venus had Cupid shoot her with a love arrow, but bottom line is, she was crazy for this man. Aeneas and Dido have a weird, no-strings-attached relationship for around 6 months that was set up by Venus and Juno, though according to Dido, they were married. Eventually, Zeus intervenes and makes Aeneas remember his mission. Aeneas now has to leave Carthage, though he doesn't really want to. But when Dido heard about it, boy did she get mad. Aeneas tells her, if fate would let me live the life I chose, if I had power over my decisions, I would have stayed at Troy. Italy is against my will. By the way, this is proof that Aeneas hasn't yet accepted his destiny. Eventually, he and his men leave Carthage, but not before Dido casts a horrible curse on the Roman race and then kills herself. Aeneas finally makes it to Italy, but now he has to go down into the underworld. And of course, while he's down there, he runs into no one other than Queen Dido herself, who is still mad, by the way, so she just glares at him and then walks away. While he's down there, Aeneas is reunited with his dead father, Anchises. His dad teaches him about reincarnation, which is when pure souls that have been in the underworld for 1,000 years get to come back to life as new people. Anchises then shows Aeneas some of the souls that are going to become his descendants, the Romans. All the way from Romulus to Augustus Caesar, Aeneas sees all the people that are depending on him to fulfill his duty. This is the moment when Aeneas finally faces his identity and becomes committed to his calling. Long story short, Aeneas leaves the underworld and goes to Latinum, where he has a prearranged marriage with Lavinia waiting for him, but Juno as always gets in the way and makes Turnus, who also likes Lavinia, very mad. Turnus and Aeneas fight a war, and the book ends with Aeneas killing Turnus. The end. Next, it's time for comparison and analysis. First off, let's see who the better hero is, Achilles or Aeneas.
Ready, go!
Achilles is obviously stronger since he's pretty much invincible except in his heel. Point Achilles. In terms of leadership, however, Aeneas is the better leader because not only does he put on a brave face during hard times, but he leads by example, such as when he helps bury their dead comrade instead of just sitting around and giving his men orders. Achilles, on the other hand, quits the war and then takes his soldiers with him, leaving the Greeks to the wolves. Point Aeneas. A good leader also has self-control. Achilles is clearly the winner here because he refrains from killing Agamemnon even when he's really mad, but Aeneas, on the other hand, he acts on his passions and sleeps with Dido. Point Achilles. Finally, the hero that actually stays alive until the end of his story is Aeneas. Achilles, well, he gets killed by Paris. Point Aeneas. Next, let's analyze the relationship between the Iliad and the Aeneid. There's a lot of similarities between these two books. First of all, the roles of Achilles and Aeneas switch. In the Aeneid, whenever Aeneas is fighting the war against Turnus, he takes on the role of Achilles and Turnus takes on the role of Hector. Aeneas is the one fighting to win another man's girl, and he kills his mortal enemy, Turnus, in order to do so. Also, there's the Achilles shield moment. This is basically where Achilles receives a new special view of the world, which in this case is represented in his shield. It motivates him to fulfill his duty, which is to avenge Patroclus. For Aeneas, this moment is when he goes into the underworld and is reminded of his vocatio. It's the turning point in the story where he receives the motivation necessary to keep going. Next, in the Iliad and Aeneid, the Greek and Roman views about fate are explained. In the Iliad, the Greeks believe fate is inevitable and nobody can escape it no matter what. This concept is also explored in the play Oedipus Rex. The Romans, however, believed that fate could be altered, and proof lies in the fact that there was no fate or justice in her death, referring to Dido. Her suicide was not destined by the gods, and it was her own free will that changed her fate. Finally, we have to compare what heroism means to both the Greeks and the Romans. The Greeks believed that honor was won through brave deeds in battle, and that personal glory was most important. The Romans, however, believed that being a hero meant you were selfless and you cared more for the good of your country than your own personal benefit. In conclusion, both Achilles and Aeneas leave behind legacies that change the world. Achilles transforms the Greek ideals of honor. When Agamemnon offers him glory and power to come back to the war, he replies, "I don't need that kind of honor. My honor comes from Zeus." And then later, when he returns Hector's body, he proves that honor is more about being a virtuous person than one's reputation. On the other hand, Aeneas, through his story, establishes the Roman values that will endure for centuries, and Anchises summarizes them effectively. He says, "Romans, don't forget that world dominion is your great craft, peace and then peaceful customs, sparing the conquered, striking down the haughty." And thus rose the Roman Empire. Anyway, this was Storytime with Apollo. I really hope you enjoyed, and thank you so much for watching.